Fellas, happy Leagues week. I am very excited for Trailblazer Reloaded to come out. I was planning on taking a week off work and going super hard trying to make daily videos, but stuff really just didn't work out for me and I kind of can't. So I'm definitely going to be taking a more casual approach to this league. And if you're in the same boat as me, I just wanted to make a very simple, casual video about what I'm going to do for the league, and hopefully it will have some information that's useful for you. I do want to start this video by saying if you're looking for something that's you should do this task, then this task, and unlock this region because you'll get this and this and these points, this is not the video for you. So in this video, I just kind of want to talk about the regions I'm going to pick, why I'm going to pick them, but also kind of talk about why you might want to pick different regions than me. I'm basically going to give you the how you can play leagues, why you should play leagues, and what you can do during the league. So starting with how. Playing the league is very easy. Once it launches on Wednesday the 15th, just pick a league world and log into your regular account. You're now in a league world and you're into the gameplay. But more interestingly, we should talk about why. Why should you play the league? I think there's a couple different reasons, and it will be different for every person. For me personally, I've always kind of used the leagues to learn new content. In Leagues 3, I decided to use it to learn the Inferno. I had already been doing Inferno attempts for a long time, but I just never gotten it. So I decided it might be a good idea to use the less punishing PVM mechanics to get a better understanding of how blob flicking worked, how solving waves worked, and pretty much just everything I needed to know in the Inferno. That was the first Infernal Cape I ever got in the game. As soon as the league ended, I went and started sending attempts again, and I think on my 5th or 6th attempt, I got it. So I will always credit the league for the learning experience, and it was definitely a direct benefit to my main account. So in this league, I'm going to do something very similar. This game that we all love has 3 raids. The newest one is the Tombs of a Mascot. I've done a fair bit of this at a pretty high invo, so I'm very comfortable doing it. The second one is the Theater of Blood. This is probably the most difficult one and the most punishing one for mistakes. So if you're not familiar with it, the league is a great opportunity to learn it. But I'm also lucky enough to have some experience there, so in this league, I'm not actually going to pick Mauritania. But the first raid added to the game was the Chambers of Zarek. This is one of the only pieces of PVM content in the game that I've never really tried. I'm personally going to use this league to learn the Chambers of Zarek, but not just the regular raid, also the challenge mode. This is a piece of content I've kind of put off forever, and I think now is the perfect time for me to learn it. But that's the kind of learning aspect. Why else should you play the league? I personally think it's a very nice break. The leagues are like a dopamine fountain. In the regular game, you could fish for 8 hours and gain 200,000 fishing experience. In the league, you could gain 200,000 fishing experience in 15 minutes. It just makes everything so fast and it just fries your dopamine receptors. It is awesome. But this isn't just for skilling, this is for almost everything in the game. There's boosted drop rates, so you're more likely to get items. Doing wilderness content technically has no risk. Even though you can get killed, you can still go and pick your stuff up because we're all Iron Men in the league. It's just the same game that you already love, just on steroids. Even if you decide to play the league for 2 or 3 days, it will still be a nice break from the grind that the main game is. And the last reason I think you should play the league is because if you're someone who likes competition, these leagues are insanely competitive. This one might be a little bit less competitive compared to previous ones. This is because we now have static point thresholds for trophies, but even still, going for top ranks or a higher rank than your friend is super fun and very satisfying. If you are someone who wants to play this way and try to get the highest rank possible, I really recommend you follow someone like Maz on Twitter. This guy is an absolute beast and is constantly ranking super high in every temporary game mode, every league, deadman mode, everything. He actually just put out a step-by-step guide on how he would tackle the first day of leagues, and it has a detailed breakdown on go here, do this task, then go here, do this, this, and this, pick up this item. It's very, very detailed and very, very good. So if that's something you're looking for, I'll include his Twitter in the description. I would highly recommend you follow him for anything like this. But outside of how and why, we should talk about what you can do in the league. Trailblazer is different than the previous league where you're locked to only 3 regions. You will get Mistalin and Karamja for free, so you'll technically have 5 regions at your disposal. The difficult part is picking the 3 regions that will 1, offer you the most points, or 2, offer you the most fun. For me, it's probably pretty obvious what I'm picking. I'm definitely picking Karend because I want to learn Chambers, but that leaves me with 2 other regions. I've constantly gone back and forth about what I should pick, but right now it looks like I'm going to pick the Desert and I'm also going to pick Asgarnia. I'm going to pick the Desert for TOA. I would like to get Masori Tebow. That would be so fun, especially at 2-tick attack speed. But I'd also like to pick Asgarnia so that I can get Arma and a Armadillo crossbow in the meantime building up to that. Each region has so much unique content, so it is going to be very hard for you to pick your 3. My recommendation can go like one of 2 ways. Either you pick 3 regions that have content that you want to learn, or you pick 3 regions that you think you'll have the most fun with. That can be doing content that you've done before that you really like, and maybe you want to push it to like its absolute limits, or you pick the regions that you think will have the most fun tasks for you to do. Everybody will probably have a different build and a different idea of what they want to do with this league, so it's very hard for me to give a like personalized recommendation. I personally am a big fan of using the leagues to learn new content. So if you always wanted to learn like Theater of Blood, Chambers like I'm going to, or TOA, you could always just pick one of those regions so you have that unlocked and just chip away at it whenever you feel like it. But all the regions have a surprising amount of content, and Jagex actually put out like these little cards that kind of show you everything. So like hopefully I'm like showing them to you because like they are super detailed and they have a ton of information. Just by like looking at these, you should be able to form a more like full idea of what you want to do and how you're going to do it. The 2 free regions are great. They have so much content in themselves. So even if you were to never unlock any other regions, you'd still have a ton of stuff to do. But it is so hard to pick. Even now, just like going through them, I'm looking at Fremennik and I'm like, damn, maybe I do want to pick DK so that I can get a ring, and then I can combine that ring with the Leviathan ring, and then I can get even better range. And the hard part of this league is that there is a chance you get like that FOMO feeling where you're like, damn man, I picked the wrong area. I'm missing out on this and this. So if that's something you're really worried about, you kind of have 2 options. You can either play multiple accounts, or you can just kind of wait. I know that's not like a good option. Like everybody just wants to play the league. We don't want to wait for all the new content, but like kind of seeing how things trickle down and unlock is not always a bad idea, especially if you're going to play super casually. The only downside is that you don't get to have fun for a few days. You just get to play the main game. The relic system is also a thing that's in leagues. We can't really talk about it too much before the league starts because we really don't know that much. Like right now we have our tier 1 relics, which is nice because it lets people plan how they're going to start and then they can kind of figure out later. But a lot of the times these tier 1 relics actually feed into tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, whatever. So with tier 1, we basically get relics that relate to play styles. Endless Harvest focus on people who are like less click intensive and more AFK, which is probably a lot of you who are watching this video because I do a series called AFKing 9 to 5. Then we get Production Prodigy, which is almost the exact opposite. Instead of making things more AFK, it makes it more click intensive and much faster. And then we get kind of like the wild card, which is the Trickster. The Trickster kind of falls more into that first category of making things more AFK or more chill. And I think I'm going to pick Trickster. Like the other 2 relics are good, but what really stands out to me is the auto re-pickpocketing. That pickpocket is doubled. You also get this thing called Sage Greaves, which grant agility XP for running, which I think is really cool, and I would love to not run around rooftops for a 10,000 year period. Box traps lure creatures faster, which will be good for me because I'm picking range and I'll probably want to use chins at some point. While they also lure faster, they double the box trap loot. And you can't fail actions for thieving, agility, hunter, and fire making. Fire making kind of doesn't matter because at some point you just stop failing anyway. But thieving, you'll never fail a pickpocket, meaning a lot of different thieving activities now become viable. Like you could pickpocket paladins for chaos runes if you really wanted to, like you would actually get a good amount. There's just so many more options now. So for tier 1, that's kind of my pick. I've already kind of said it, but for the combat relic, I'm going to be picking range. This is because of the regions I'm picking, but I do think both melee and magic are going to be viable. So if that's something you want to do, you can definitely pick them. I know there's been like some whispers about the Din's Bulwark being really good with melee, and it probably will be. I'm just the type of person who likes to play MMOs. I always play like a range class. So in World of Warcraft, I would play a hunter. In MapleStory, I played an archer. I just like the distance combat. It's more interesting to me. But yeah, I'm super excited to jump into this league. Again, I'm just going to play it super casually. I'm really doing it just to learn chambers. But there are a variety of different reasons why people will want to play the league. So even if you just check it out, it's definitely worth it. You'll find out if it's for you or not. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make a super casual video about leagues, just talking about it, because it is something I'm going to do and I'm very excited for it. Thank you to the big fellas, DansSmeg'ead and LokiFM. I appreciate both of you for your continued support, as well as to the fellas with the newest member being Halal Platter. That That is such a good username, as well as Snacks, Jujo, and iTalk. I appreciate you guys for the months of continued support. It's actually kind of unbelievable. I said I'm going to start doing some more member only videos, so there will be some coming up. I definitely want to talk about the combat achievements on there because I've been doing a lot of them recently, and I know a lot of people don't really care about like master and grandmaster stuff because it seems so unachievable. But honestly, if I can get master, anyone who puts the time and effort in can get master. So I might do a video for like the Grandmaster time for the fight caves, because surprisingly that has been some of the most fun I've had in a very long time. So if you want to become a member, there's a little join button below the video, but of course never feel obligated to do that. Just watching the video is way more than I could ever ask for. And during the league I was gonna make progress videos, but the timing hasn't really worked out for me, so I couldn't get time off. So I'm just gonna play it like super casually in the background, and videos will kind of continue as normal. So if you're someone who decides like you don't want to play the league after 5 days or whatever, there will still be regular main game content. I got some stuff for combat achievements like getting hard tier with like low effort or the easiest task possible. I've been making a gear progression video, but it has become surprisingly more complicated than I thought. I want to do a video on the squirking that's going on right now. I have a video about like AFKing every skill in the game. There's lots of stuff coming, so subscribe so you don't miss it. But yeah, I've really got nothing left to say, so I'll see you in the next one.